Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to Danganronpa. So we're in this like weird position where there's like not really a lot of good reason to like go forward with any of this gameplay mechanic at all that exists here. It is all about dating people, so we just need to kind of rush through everything. Yes, we could be looking for silver spoons and iron plates to get more cleaning maestros. We have 6 of them now. Otherwise, we're kind of just not doing anything at all. When you look at the characters, I can certainly have all the number 3s and number 4s clean and try and just raise their energy up. Or, you know, I can just have all the tired people clean and have them raise their energy up that way too. Either one is slightly doable. At a certain level, it might not really be worth it. Like once we get characters up to level 5, 6, or 7, the amount of work to get your cleaning level higher is kind of ridiculously high. But then also the amount of straight up cleaning maestros we would need is ridiculously high. And so it's just about this dating section, and I think that we've got Toko to the max. Okay, so then that means now we are just straight up moving on to Hefumi. And hopefully we can put up with the annoyance of Hefumi and quickly get through his setup also. So I have to scroll on the walkthrough from this down back to Hefumi since I'm jumping around. This really does highlight to me my own just particular personal preference, where I would have preferred the characters to always be listed boy girl. It's fairly sexist to put all the boys at the very beginning and then all the girls at the end, and then Chihiro, who is the boy who was cross-dressing, in the middle. Where it would have made more sense to just mix things around. I think also if you look at the report cards, yeah, Chihiro in this one gets put at the end, and then Junko is at the end. So if you were going to just suspect that the last character was going to be the bad guy, then you'd think it's Chihiro instead of Junko. Spoiler alert. But I mean, you could still easily have done the same outcome. You could have just had Kyoko listed right next to Makoto, or even above him. Yeah, it just seems seems kind of like a bad system. Makoto and Kyoko are by far the best, most important characters in the story by far. Like, you would not have succeeded in the main story at all without Kyoko and Makoto. Anyways, for the dining hall, the prompts are every meal is important versus do you know how to cook versus what should we talk about, or want to get something to drink versus when I'm starving it's burger time versus so Japanese or Western for breakfast. And see, that's just a different prompt compared to similar prompts that we've seen where Makoto is instead of asking a question, just come out directly and said that Japanese is the best. Interestingly here, so far at least, we have seen 0 instances of anybody saying Western breakfast is the best. Then the third group of options are, so what do you like to do at night? Want to eat something versus how do you get your hair to do that? What's interesting here for Hefumi is that all three options are great. So there's literally no reason, if you're just trying to rush here, to not just stick with the dining hall every single prompt. See. So the prompt here for him is want something to drink. Something to drink, OMFG win.
Yes, indeed.
Diet Coke for me, please. Diet Coke, Diet Coke, Diet Coke, Diet Coke, Diet Coke, Diet Coke. Come on, already, Papa needs his fix. Looks like he had a really good time.
Well, hello.
We certainly got fired up today, didn't we? I'm amazed how much fun we had together, Mr. Naegi. It was most unexpected.
Without a doubt.
It's rare for someone to exceed my expectations, you know. I eagerly await our next opportunity to deepen our friendship. For now, let's return. And see, this is a character and an instance of characterization of Hefumi that just plays into a stereotype of you've got this big fat guy and he drinks Diet Cokes and sugary drinks. Whereas it would be, it's much more subverting expectations when you realize that Aoi is the character that drinks that eats the donuts all the time, and as such she is much more of a unhealthy eater than so far what we've seen of Hefumi. Alright. Clean, 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 clean. Another one to clean. You should put this one out. And then we should try and have this one looking for things. Meanwhile, I think we're looking for silver spoons, which would be that one. Venus flytraps, electronic tables I don't think are necessary either. So we'll send 3 people down that way. Of course, it might just be easier, instead of having the remaining 5 characters try and search and get from level 8 to level 9, to instead just create 5 more cheat sheets. But agonizing about it is kind of pointless. We just need to keep our momentum going forward. Ideally, in this episode, we would be done with everything. It's not gonna happen. Exact same prompt there. So I gave it 2 options. So we'll move on to the next area. But it's not really likely that I could run through the remaining 25 days, 24 days of this run and also a whole nother run.
Isn't that one? See ya.
And see, as long as he doesn't reward us with iron plates, silver spoons, or clean maestros, or cheat sheets. I guess electronic tables are potentially a goal that we would be looking for. Iron plates, I guess, are the other thing we should be looking for. I really think that this is just a case of you need a 3rd character if you're going to get to the top tier. Which kind of means that everything else should be supporting that idea. more than cleaning. But whatever. We got Byakuya to level up. That's something at least. But it does kind of feel like almost every single day there should be somebody leveling up, or at least every couple of days. So next we go to Hefumi to the school store. And the prompts for the school store are, I remember, excuse me. I remember those toy vending machines versus let's dig for treasure versus that's a pretty cute doll, or do they have any anime DVDs in stock versus who would buy this kind of armor versus the vase is shaped kind of funny. That's a weird prompt. We haven't seen that before. Or it could be things are piled up to the ceiling versus there's all kinds of paintings here versus is that an accordion? And only the first two of those prompts are great, where the third one is only good, so you kind of already know that you would be better off simply sticking to the dining room. Ah, such a treasure chest brings memories flooding back. That unique feeling of putting your money in and turning the knob. Indeed, the act itself could be considered a self-contained microcosm of, and yet I've poured coin after coin into hundreds, thousands of these machines. Embarrassed as it is to admit it, there was a toy set I absolutely had to collect. I learned that if there's something in there you really want, you gotta buy every last unit.
Yes, indeed.
And I call that adult purchasing power.
However,
I remember I'd go to a store, buy a piece of candy, and then give them have them give me all coins for my change. Thinking back, I see that I was always destined to become the man I am today. Even then, I saw the proper method for contemplating any social system I'm focused on. Looks to me like you had a really good time. Japanese money is a little bit more centered around coinage than paper money. Although it is also oddly still centered, at least last time I've checked, still very focused around paper money anyways, and exact change. Having exact change before you even go to the store, if you can. They don't seem to really use debit cards or credit cards or checks or anything like that. Checks might make a lot of sense because they don't also sign for too many things using like handwritten signatures. Instead, they have official registered stamps that they stamp for things, and that's just another example of the Japanese following a tradition beyond the point of it making any sense, because it would be incredibly easy to forge or stamp on a person, and you don't even have to like really learn how to forge a signature. In that case, it's way easier and way more effective to forge a stamp.
well, hello.
But yeah, so often you see the Japanese into gadgets and being high tech and all, but really a lot of their stuff they do is still so traditional and so backwards. Well, we certainly got fired up today. This is the same
Without a doubt.
prompt as before, so we'll just skip that. I wouldn't be surprised if the reason why they still do have such a focus on coinage is the vast amount of pachinko parlors and vending machines vending machines of toys, vending machines of drink and food. It would be very hard to retrofit and update all of those items, although at the current pandemic time all the pachinko parlors are pretty much shutting down, so maybe they won't open up as busy as they were before. at some point in the future. Alright, well, we crafted that. We can craft another one of those. And we're still looking for whistles and iron plates. But
Yes, what are you gonna do?
go ahead and skip all of this because it doesn't matter. Alright. And we can see one person's energetic.
Isn't that wonderful? See,
We almost never do get to use the nonsensu beans. Alright, so we need 5 Greek statues. Let's make sure we can craft everything. We need 20 stainless steel sheetings, which that might be asking a little bit of a high number. I think, even though I'm not really paying attention to it, I think there is kind of this confirmed amount of resources you need at the very end of the game. As such, it probably isn't that crazy to know what that amount would be and have that ready to go before you even start. Alright, iron plates and whistles. Still looking for an electronic table. Let's see. Iron plate there. We'll throw some of the people with higher cleaning skills towards that problem and try and kind of balance this out. Is anyone gonna pass out? No. Okay. Then we should be good. Move forward. 2 level ups for cleaning. Then so far they have managed to keep Hefumi's interactions fairly short, so I am not super irritated by his prompts yet. Let's see. I'm fairly certain this was the anime DVDs option, yes.
Yes, indeed.
There should be a few copies of Demon Angel Pretty Pudgy Princess floating around, because you see, in order to spread the piggy gospel, I secretly placed some here myself. I'm hoping more and more people will come by and check it out, and start requesting it more, and thus we propagate the Pudgy Princess into the rest of culture. Yep. I don't know what it would be called, but I'm fairly certain it would be illegal to sneak a product on the shelves of a store. At the very least, they're gonna ask you to leave and never come back. We can also see on Hefumi's shoulders, he's got some kind of logo also. It seems like a lot of the outfits have these little shoulder logos that you never really get a great look at. It was the perfect plan, Gra. More and more fellow fans. There's so much wrong with everything he just said, but I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut. Looks to me like he had a really good time.
Well, hello.
It really does feel like there was just 2 completely disagreeing groups of people that wrote the lines of dialogue, or just, if not disagreeing, not really communicating groups of people that wrote the dialogue. Otherwise, they wouldn't write the dialogue, so it feels like you have a rebuttal to what people say, and then it just jumps to saying, I think he had a really good time. And certainly if this was all done by one person, then why is the characterization of of each character kind of off from what the prompts are. Alright, so now we are in the library. The prompts for the library are I just want to read comics versus there sure are a lot of books here versus here's a book called Intro to Comics, which is awful. And see, again, that would feel like that would be the right prompt for a doujin creator. Of course, I don't know why they called him the ultimate fanfic creator. If they were going to use the phrase comics, why didn't they just call him the ultimate comic creator in the localization? That would make so much more sense than using fanfic. The other prompts are I love reading, which is only good, versus I'm getting kind of sleepy, versus should we spend some time studying, or do you have any of your stuff here, which is only good, versus maybe we should tidy up a little, versus what kind of books do you normally read. Let's see. So, do you have any stuff here? It's the right answer, but it's only good.
Why is that?
No, good grief. This is unexcusable. They have all the space here, and they don't have a single one of my creations.
So it would seem.
All I have to say is Cool Japan, and it's all over. I don't know what that means. Cool Japan is kind of the idea. It's basically a political scheme to make Japan seem cool, or to cash in the fact that anime made Japan seem cool to a lot of Japanophiles for a couple decades there. But yeah, it's pretty much a tired concept, I would say, at this point. And even when this game came out, saying that out loud just kind of sounds like you're saying something that a millennial or a boomer, not a millennial, you're saying something like what a baby boomer would say. They use that inexcusable trend to shove fanfic off into a corner. So I assume, if I'm understanding this, he's complaining that they're hiding his fanfics in bookstores and libraries away from the more prominent places of display. Most unfortunate. I think we both had a pretty good time. Where in all fairness, I imagine the Japanese readers probably do enjoy the doujins and the fanfics a lot more than more traditional printed novels. In the same way that 50 Shades of Grey being a fanfic of the Twilight series, it was overwhelmingly purchased and enjoyed in secret, but enjoyed nonetheless, compared to even the Twilight books, which would be more traditional teenage romance stories that aren't that great. You definitely know a publishing company pushed hard to make Twilight succeed and be popular, where I think the fanfic of 50 Shades of Grey did not have to be pushed anywhere as much. I had fun today. I will gladly accept any future invitations, so please don't hesitate to ask anything. Oh, but not during my nightly refresh period. Okay, we should get back now. Like, I don't know what they're implying there, but it sounds perverted. Again, that might just be a localization issue. I could definitely see a lot of stuffiness and attempts to put traditional Japanese novels up front and promote them, and a lot of like younger adults and teenagers just completely rejecting that. In the West, certainly things like Catcher in the Rye and Lord of the Flies, which basically this whole story is somewhat similar to Lords of the Flies, the general concept of kids being left alone. Those are all required reading in schools, whereas they would never have been popular or read or really even relevant at all. They're not really relevant even now, but they're pretended like they are. Whereas more interesting novels like Stephen King books and things like that are still somewhat relevant and yet not promoted as much, and certainly fanfics and doujin. There is no real doujin that exists in the West. No, there's kind of a undeniable intrigue around being reading something that people don't want you to read or aren't promoting, more than reading something that people are promoting. I suppose the Bible is probably the best example of that, whereas any religious person would love for their kids to read the Bible. Very few of them actually want to or do. So I picked I love reading. I have no interest in other people's creations. If I want to read a story, I'll write one myself. For I am Hefumi, chosen by the gods. Guru, I do amaze myself sometimes. Oh, but anime doesn't count. That's kind of like dessert. I think we both had a pretty good time. You really wouldn't be much of a doujin artist if you didn't read at least other doujin, let alone other books. But I could see somebody doing that. Sure. I had fun today. We already have that prompt, so we'll just skip that. Try to keep momentum, try to keep moving, try not to go on big, long rants. There is a very much possibility, though, that even professional writers, so we need to focus a little bit more on iron plates, like for comic books in the West, Marvel and DC writers. If you told me that they barely read any books at all, or that they hadn't in their past ever read any books at all, I wouldn't be super surprised there. There is definitely a lack of quality in some of that writing. Like I have 4 going for iron plates. So I really can't change much of anything. Junko level up. Also, I feel like even compared to Western comics like Marvel and DC, doujin, at least a small amount I have seen, strikes me as it typically does have more writing in it and just more pages in general. Plus, they're typically written in Japanese, so there's maybe some more thoughts and deeper thoughts you can convey in a word bubble than you can in a Western comic. But like, if you look at the long-running, the longest-running manga series, One Piece, each manga volume is going to be larger than what a volume of a trade paperback is for a comic, and very often, like, One Piece probably has like 100 volumes or more, just to pick a number in the random. Alright, so for the rec room, we may get a Happy Heart Havoc prompt. Otherwise, the options are, is that a slot machine back there versus a massage chair, which there was no massage chair in the rec room, versus there's a lot of magazines here, or let's play some pool, which is only good, versus you want to read a magazine, versus let's give darts a shot, or I'm not sure about any of these games, which is only good, versus kind of boring here, versus Hope's Peak is really amazing. And that prompt Hope's Peak is really amazing. Never seems to be the right response for anybody. For the trigger, Happy Heart. Affirmation on the first prompt is great. Negation is awful. Affirmation on the second prompt is good. Whereas negation on the second prompt is poor. I don't know if there really needed to be 4 tiers for responses. That seems excessive. Honestly, a single yes/no option probably would have been fine, where you get half a heart if you get it wrong, you get a full heart if you get it right. You never get quarter hearts, you never get no hearts. What happened? Why did Hefumi get quiet all of a sudden? Huh? That voice, could it be? Are these Hifumi's inner thoughts? Do we really want to know Hifumi's inner thoughts? Not really. Incredibly slow. He's reacting with a lesser known. His sixth sense is pinging like crazy. He just might. If he has the support of Makoto, he's like referencing himself. He with the mandate handed down from the gods. He with the most formidable talent, Hefumi Yamada. They go forward hand in hand. See, this feels like this is just they prepare to bring a new era in the world of fanfic. So yeah, that's weird. It's like he's narrating in his own head from a third-person perspective. Maybe this is, in Japanese, a poem, or it's a different way of speaking. Maybe Hefumi speaks particularly formally, and that's where they localize that to have him refer to everybody by their family name. The talent you have, only you have it, Hefumi. Listen, you don't have to flatter me so much. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean anything weird.
Yes, indeed.
You don't have to apologize, Mr. Naegi. My talent was given to me by the gods, absolutely. But there's more to it than just having the talent. I've mastered that talent and learned how to harness it in the proper way. If you're given power and use it improperly, if you use it to do evil in the world, however brave or strong you might be, you'll be destroyed and never stand again. And see, this almost is like foreshadowing of what happened to Hefumi, where he thought he was doing the right thing, but he certainly was putting a lot of effort into killing people and then framing other people, which he had to know at a certain level wasn't the right thing. No, it's thanks to Princess Pickles too. Well, Mr. Naegi, naturally I give the princess thanks for showing me the way all this time. Looks to me like you had a really good time. We certainly got fired up today, didn't we? Let's go ahead and skip all this, because this is all just the same. Just go ahead and skip all of this. It would be so much nicer if there was just a way to like bring up the handbook at any point and skip to the end of the day. That would save a lot of effort. We need to use these spirit bombs. So that, and then that. Meanwhile, that's that. And then we'll leave the rest. We can, however, just like energize people back up. We are now at needing some Venus flytraps. And while we're at it, I feel like probably wouldn't hurt too much to just power up each of these that are still searching. That way we kind of know what we're doing here. Okay. I kind of want to leave everything the same, but I do need somebody to focus on Venus flytraps. So we'll put that there and that there and that there. But yeah, you can kind of tell how we still would need to level up a lot of people a lot more. Let's now jump Hefumi to the music room. I think we did the rec room twice, but even if we didn't, let's see. I guess I don't really care that much. The prompts in the music room are, so what's your favorite kind of music, versus I've always wanted to see some live music, versus can you play the piano, or do you do karaoke a lot, which is only good, versus are you a fan of music, versus are you good at any instruments, or there's lots of speakers here, which is only good, versus this place seems pretty nice, versus that piano looks pretty expensive. And how you were supposed to figure out there's a lot of speakers here is the good response. I have no idea. Quite a good number indeed. There might be more here than in a small movie theater.
Yes, indeed.
With all that nice audio equipment, I want to watch all my anime in here. Let's bring some up here with us next time. Okay? Movie theaters have a lot of speakers installed. Hidden behind the fabric on the walls. Like, it's not crazy to potentially have a 37.2304 setup compared to a 5.1 surround sound that you would have in a house, or 7.1. Or they're getting now to 7.1s and 9.1s. The points being the subwoofers. I wouldn't be surprised if in some theaters it's like hundreds of speakers with discrete audio channels. They do as much as they can to try to make the movie theater experience separate and more immersive than a home theater experience. Although the difference between having a 5.1 and a 7.1 and a 9.1 often can be very little if it is just a matter of someone incompetent being in charge of actually making the audio files in the first place. If nobody's really putting a lot of effort into it, it is still super easy to miss out on that. Right, well, I don't want this guy to pass out, so I'm gonna send him back to cleaning. And then I just don't really want to change anything, so we'll just continue down our pathway. I think we're gonna have to very possibly here be somewhat careful with Hefumi if we want to get that fourth character. We should have enough prompts, but we do want to be careful. And there's no reason not to just kind of fast forward this to the First prompt. It seems like it's pretty much impossible to miss if you're even generally in the right area. Suppose if I had time to goof around and wanted to really waste time, I would actively try and miss and see what happens then. I imagine nothing. I imagine the bullet just reloads like it normally would. So keep on making more cleaning maestros. Still not really getting electronic tables, nor we'll have to check to make sure we're getting antiseptic solutions, which antiseptic solutions would be from there. So we'll give everybody an energy boost, and then we will pour 4 characters into that, and pretty much just try to leave everything else alone. We can switch that to that. If I could just get the last group of people who are level 8 searchers up to level 9, that would be nice. And then to the garden, I guess we go. The prompts for the garden for Hefumi are: do you like this place versus who takes care of these plants? Monokuma question mark versus we can't eat these chickens, or should we take a nap versus the flower's kind of creepy versus there's a sprinkler and that's only a good option, should we take a nap, or want to walk around a bit, which is also only good, versus the happy blue sky kind of cheers me up versus you want to check out the tool shed. So yeah, I'll do should we take a nap, I believe is the good option there. I approve, Mr. Naegi. Knowing that grotesque plant, this is the perfect atmosphere for a nice lazy nap. Okay, then let's do it. Nap time. I think we both had a pretty good time. I don't think I would understand the idea of taking a nap with a high school friend. That seems kind of a weird thing to do, but I don't know. I guess during my high school days I never had enough free time to potentially take naps. Alright, so we have like 2 more cleaning maestros. I really feel like I should probably just sit on them and see if we can get more characters ready to go. Yeah. I think we just need to focus at this point on that. So I'm gonna go down that route to the data center because what we're looking for is electronic tables. We got a bunch of that. One more date with Hefumi in the garden. And then we'll check our numbers. Once again, the exact same prompt. And see, the problem here is if you get 1 good, so you're at a half point, there's no real way to recover that. It feels like the trigger happy heart events should trigger when you are at a half point or a quarter point and have them all automatically jump you up a full heart, or a full 2 hearts even, to rebalance it. That's the only thing that would make slightly sense to me, is that they rewarded better. Let's go ahead and skip all over all this.
Isn't that wonderful?
This is giving me more cleaning maestros, which is what I want, so I can't be upset about that by any means. 1 cheat sheet. Now I would need to focus on Monokuma photo albums and pin lights and like several other items. Might as well also make one of these. Meanwhile, we need 20 microchips, which I might actually be a little short on. Ooh, so we do need bags of screws. We need 30 gas burners. You see, this is the point, for sure, where it starts to look like if you were struggling to get to this point, you just wouldn't be able to build the last Monokuma backup. But it's not really that complicated or difficult that I failed even on the first playthrough. Like, by the time I had made it to this point, I succeeded. I only failed on a very early Monokuma build, backup build, which is also kind of just highlights that there is actually a lack of variety or difficulty in general. Alright, well, let's see. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Just get Chihiro up. 4, 4, 5. All getting brought to 6s. So we need microchips, which means we need bags of screws, which means something. Yep. 2 there. I guess I just want to leave that and not worry about it. Like, if I get more cheat sheets because Monokuma gives them to him, I can use those up, but I don't think I intentionally want to waste time to try and get more cheat sheets. If anything, I'm just gonna pour everybody to making cleaning maestros and just cleaning in general. So he's at 7.5 hearts.
Well,
So I'm just gonna bring it into the dining hall. Back to the dining hall. Of course, that means I'm gonna have to walk through back a little bit so that I can remember what the prompts are for Hefumi. And we'll just do this 3 times and then we'll be done. And if we happen to trigger any other dialogue we haven't seen, fine.
hello.
But more than likely we won't. We kind of need to be able to get through 4 people in this run That way we are certain we will be done with the remaining 4 people in the next run, because it would be super annoying otherwise. And I hope that there's only 4 people in the next run. Otherwise we will potentially would need a whole nother run. Yeah, the whole concept just falls apart. It's too many hearts. If anything, that ideally you would want it so that you could go through one run and get your relationship meter up to the maximum for all 15 characters. And I don't know if maybe you would have a complicated system where you get bonus points for relationships with other people, but that might be a way to figure it out. Or you just have the presents and the gifts that you give to characters also increase the relationship, or be a way that you can increase relationships very, very quickly. Or you just let the player play as much as they want at the end. I guess that would be the easiest way, is that there'd just be a endless mode, which is, I guess, what you would call that, at the end of the game, instead of making you jump through hoops. Yeah. Right now, the main gameplay mechanic. What prompt is this? I don't. Every meal is important is the right response. Some may think man can survive on bread alone, but that isn't true. However, that being said, man cannot survive without bread either. Step 1, food. Step 2, food. Step 3 and 4, who cares? Step 5, food, food, food. Keep yourself well fed and the rest of the world will take care of itself. Again, just playing to a stereotype of him being an overeater, so let's eat. Wait, right now? What? Looks like we had a really good time.
Well, hello.
Certainly got fired up today, didn't we? I'm amazed how much fun we had together, mister. Yeah, we already seen that prompt, so let's skip that. I wonder if you really could have an anime with the same characters where it was murder mysteries. I guess there's no reason to wonder about that because there is a visual novel series called Higurashi When They Cry, which is pretty much exactly that. And it's an older anime slash manga slash visual novel game that jumps through different paths where different people, main characters, are the killers. They're remaking it and re-releasing it as of this recording. So that idea works, at least to some small amount. We need more microchips, right? Which we still need bags of screws. Interesting. I'll just have you clean so he doesn't pass out. Then that one clean. And that one clean. It definitely does feel like we are putting a lot of effort to get minimal returns as far as items, or just a lot of items that are unnecessary.
Now then.
Okay. So we have now the rest of the game to get Sakura done. And that will leave Yashihiro, Chihiro, Celeste, and Junko for the last run through the game. Which that should... work out fairly well. Of course, the little notifications and the little badges to show whether you've gotten them to their ending before does potentially make it feel like there might be a way to get a second badge and go through the game even more times, but I don't think there's anything around that idea. I don't think that's true. Even if it were true, I would be very happy to not go down that path since there's no achievement down that way. Sorry it took me so long to scroll down. See, we have 6 hangout tickets now. We're gonna get like at least 4 more, so we should be fine. The prompts for Sakura in the dining hall is I'd like to train with you, which is great, versus I could go for something sweet, versus you kind of remind me of Byakuya in a way. Or for breakfast, Japanese style's best, which is great, versus do you drink much coffee, versus so are you and Hina like question mark. So there is even a prompt here, even though it's an awful prompt, to ask Sakura if Sakura and Hina are like lesbians dating each other, because it definitely was giving little hints of that. They didn't go deep down that route, but I wouldn't be surprised if in the sequel to this game, because of it just being a more Danganronpa coming out a little bit later, that they may go deeper down that way and have more confidence to go down that route instead of holding back, trying to get a wider audience. Inherently, I think the Japanese often are kind of crazy about the thought patterns that anime styled things are going to be super popular. A lot of people blow smoke up at their skirts of the CEOs and such and say, oh yeah, you'll get millions of sales and 1 in 20 Westerner will buy an anime, and that's just not true. It's a niche audience, and you're not going to get the percentages per population even in Japan when selling anime around the world, because it's just not prevalent or that popular, and it just won't ever really become that prevalent or popular. And that's a good thing, because if anime wasn't serving a rabid niche fan base, it would have become a watered down genre that had no bite to it and had nothing interesting to it. It would become just primetime TV in the West, where you get a lot of procedural cop shows and courtroom shows and what else? You get a lot of game shows and things like that are never really good quality, but they're so milquetoast and watered down that they're not offensive, and they sell well enough for their budget. That also doesn't work well for anime in particular, since the budget for anime is fairly high for what it's going to sell. It is a artistic venture much more than your standard procedural cop show, where nobody really cares about the quality of it, and it's just doing the same stories over and over again. Where were we with the prompts? Oh yeah, the third group is what should we talk about, which is good, versus is protein really all that great, versus do you know how to cook. So the dining hall isn't a great place for Sakura. Let's see. So we could do that prompt, and I almost am half tempted to do it, but we really don't have time to mess with that. So for breakfast, Japanese style is the best. And the fact that this is the prompt that's right for so many characters really does make me think that the person writing this just really loves Japanese style breakfast. Whereas localizing that to the West, I don't even really know what you mean by that. Do you mean rice with an egg on top of it? Or do you mean something else?
Of course.
If all I have is bread, it feels like as if I've eaten nothing at all. I usually go for fish with miso soup, natto, probably natto, and a raw egg. And then there's the main dish. When you call something traditional, that makes it so. But that's all it has going for it.
So in the end.
Oh, and don't forget the rice. Lots of energy and even protein. Looks to me like she had a really good time. Thank you for everything today, Makoto. The time we spend really means a lot to me. If you don't mind, could we do it again sometime? I'd like to talk with you more. I think maybe. Anyway, we should get going. It is such a wide split between how much I dislike the way Sakura looks and how much I like her as a character. She is written to be the noble character that you should like, so it's not surprising that I do like her as a character. It's just, like, it's fairly surprising that how much I hate her appearance when I know her as a character and like her as a character. So that's all the microchips we needed. So now we're all just looking for an aseptic solution, I think. I mean, we could put a couple people looking for Monokuma photo albums and pin lights too. Right. Monokuma photo albums. Monokuma photo albums. Pin lights. Pin lights. And I guess everything else will just leave. The problem here is I'm gonna end up getting cheat sheets and not even need them because there's a whole nother run through this. In the last run. Monokuma himself is just going to end up giving us cheat sheets. Let's go down this awful route. No, we don't have time. Sorry. Can't do it. Well, we have to focus. I doubt that that's going to do anything interesting. It maybe will say a single sentence response of anger for Makoto not minding his own business, but it isn't going to unlock some kind of cheesecake image where Makoto imagines Sakura and Aoi sleeping with each other. There might have been a characterization idea to have Makoto have flights of fantasy and imagine things, but that didn't happen. It wouldn't definitely have made some sense. So yeah, if I make 3 more cheat sheets, it seems like that's pretty much not important. So probably should just focus more on antiseptic solutions. Just make a slight change there. Instead of it prompting when we start the room, do you want to go out and meet with someone, it should prompt the quick change menu with all the icons of the characters and say, who do I want to hang out with, and then have an exit cancel button, and you would have been definitely more efficient there. There is a real lack of optimization as far as the flow of prompts and such in this game, considering how light on actual gameplay this is. It's not unique specifically to Japanese visual novels. It's also fairly common in Japanese and Asian RPG games in general too, where optimization really needs to be a key. And I would venture to dare to say almost every game developer should hire somebody who has worked to optimize the flow in some kind of accounting software or word processing software. Somebody who's gotten really low level on it and said, hey, let's reduce the number of clicks, reduce the number of movements one's hand needs to make to input data. There is always an argument against flooding a program, and games are programs, with too many icons, and then you end up with something like Photoshop that has tons of icons, or Blender is even a better example of that, particularly when you're talking about something like Blender, or well, Blender is probably the best example software to use there. Particularly in the case with Blender, there's tons of buttons everywhere, but you also don't get great explanations or just natural understanding of what a lot of the buttons do. Meanwhile, also in Blender, to get things to be efficient, you still tend to have to type in things or select more details, so you will get a lot of side pop-up style prompts on top of that. And I guess that inherently just implies that using software like Blender can only be optimized so far, or at least we've only found out how to optimize them so far. But yeah, things like, are you sure you want to quit, really aren't things that need to really prompt, or are you sure you want to go out and hang out with people, or things that just don't need to be, you don't need to confirm in the affirmative in most cases, particularly if you have your game saving automatically when you leave a game. There's no reason to prompt, are you sure you want to quit, as long as it's not too easy to accidentally quit. Anyways, the school store prompts are, let's organize things here a little, versus there's not much here to help train, versus there's all kinds of paintings here, or there's a pretty cute doll, which seems like that is a great response or a good response for almost every female in the game, which seems kind of lazy, versus let's dig for treasure, versus I remember those toy vending machines. So pretty much every guy prompt is the vending machine toys, and every girl prompt is the cute doll one. And see, I can't even remember in the backstory if it was Sakura who is afraid of being feminine, or if it was Hina Aoi that was afraid of being feminine. I think it was Aoi. The third prompt is, would that barrel be good for training, which is great, which means the school store is the best location for Sakura. And that is versus I really want that armor, versus oh, it's some Monokuma merchandise, which that prompt seems to be wrong always. Or maybe Junko will like it. So this is the right prompt for that one. Oh, well spotted, Makoto. That would indeed be quite useful for my weight training. But what's it doing in a school like this? This place is so strange. Anyway, since you went out of your way to mention it, why don't we get to training? Could you help me with the barrel? Looks like she had a really good time. Thank you for everything today, Makoto. The time we spent together really means a lot to me. You know what really sucks about the way Sakura looks is that if you are going to redraw her, you've got to then kind of explain her backstory, where she was going to be the strongest person in the world to defeat her rival who was sick with a disease. So like the only way you could get her to lose some muscle mass and look like an actual high school girl who was just slightly muscular would be to say she got sick with a disease or something, or that her rival was dead, which probably is true in a sequel. Or you just change the models of all the characters in the next game, and then none of the characters look like the way they did. Let's see. Or you could, probably the best way you'd write her so that she could change her appearance and be less muscular is that she's fallen in love with someone, and in the act of falling in love she's decided she wants to be more feminine looking and less muscular. But then I still don't know how you get the scar across the face to go away. You could definitely have slightly better kempt white hair, and that would be fine. The white hair itself is probably an indication of overstressing your body. But yeah, I don't know what you can really do. So maybe in the sequel it is better that Sakura just stays dead as a character. Like, if you look at the people that in the main story survive, you have Makoto, who looks like a standard anime high school boy. You have Byakuya, who looks like a obnoxious rich standard anime high school boy. You have Kyoko, who, despite her outfit, looks still pretty much like an anime girl. You have Aoi, who looks like a standard anime girl. You have Toko, who looks standard. And I assume Junko's going to be dead. And I assume Alter Ego is not going to show up. Whereas the goth Lolita definitely stood out visually. Sakura stands out visually. Sayaka looks pretty normal, but she would be gone. Yashihiro stands out a little bit, but he still looks mostly normal. Hefumi stands out a lot. Leon stands out a lot. Mondo stands out a lot. Takara stands out a lot. Like, you could pretty well, if you are just on the face of it really smart from the beginning of the game, you could pretty well have picked out who was going to die and who wasn't just by the animation styles. If you just made that one gamble to say all the normal anime looking characters are going to stay in the sequel, stay for the sequel, and everybody else is going to disappear and die.
Perhaps. So then.
Right. But yeah, I'm getting distracted again. We have 12 more days. Right. We're still looking for antiseptic solution. Yeah, is it worth it to keep having to have people keep searching, or is it better just to have people clean? That's, I suppose, the question we're gonna have to figure out. I think probably looking for items is probably the better move. But also still moving things all over the place. Did we do the school store twice with Sakura? I don't think we did. We have 3 more trips, and then we'll have to turn in the tickets, and then we'll have only a few more days.
What?
You're right. But why would you want to point that out to me? Is it because you see me as a woman?
However,
You don't need to make any special extra effort for me. Still, I appreciate the thought. Looks to me like she had a really good time. Yep. Each one of these little prompts of dialogue
perhaps
feel very much like teases, where I would like to see a full conversation happen, or I'd rather it just not even tease a conversation in the first place. It's kind of irritating to really get just 2 sentences, because at a certain point it really is just the writer being trite, for lack of a better word. There we go. Power everybody up with that. Well, we'll just do that too. Might as well use the items. In fact, I probably should use up items. Let's take an idea here. We can't use the non-sensu beans. We can't use the small vacuum. Let's see. 1, 2. But if I just have fewer items and have them ready to go, that might be the right move. We need more Venus flytraps, which means we can just push all of those down that way. Just go in that route. And guess go down that route too. Try not to waste a bunch of time. There we have Toko leveling up, which I think that pretty much leaves us with fairly few people. So the prompts for the library for Sakura is no young adult fiction here, looks like, versus they even have phone books here, versus want to crack open a textbook, or it's so quiet, versus should we spend some time studying, versus I'm getting kind of sleepy, or maybe we should try to tidy up a little, which is only good, versus I wonder if Toko's books are here, versus do you want to go train instead? This is another point where it probably makes a decent point to show that Sakura is about training both her mind and her body. So we're going to get a trigger happy heart event. Affirmation on the first is great. Negation on the first is poor. Affirmation on the second is awful. Negation on the second is good. So we'll do affirmation on the first. What am I thinking, huh? That voice, could it be? Are these Sakura's inner thoughts? It's the exact same prompt for each character. Now scrolling down so you can see her massively thick thighs. Makoto. At first I deemed him an unworthy training partner. I kind of wish the mouse would start at the bottom, but now I mean, I get the idea of it being centered. I want to believe in him, but then that also puts it right in the middle of the area. No wonder, no matter what I tell him, I feel like he accepts me for it. But maybe I'm wrong in thinking that. And besides, I'm aiming to become the strongest human on Earth. I am not allowed to come to depend on someone else. Alright, so that's the entire inner thoughts. I haven't really pointed out that a lot of this game also comes off as like an after-school special, and it does seem fairly sappy and sugary, as if it was designed for junior high students or elementary students even, instead of being a little bit more hardcore about things. If there's anything you want to talk about, you can tell me, no matter what it is. What do you mean? I might not always be able to understand the burden you're carrying, but I can still listen to you. Whatever it is, giving up without doing anything doesn't help anyone. Makoto, I suppose I caught you unaware. I'm sorry for all of this. No, you don't have to apologize. Please, I feel I have to, or I won't get past it. But you know, you're so mysterious. For some reason, I have no doubt that you mean what you say. ... Someday I'll open it up to you. I know that's selfish of me to say, but please just wait. Looks to me like she had a really good time. Thanks for everything, Makoto. Time we spent together really means a lot.
Perhaps.
If you don't mind, could we do it again sometime? I'd like to talk with you more, I think,
So
maybe. We've already seen this prompt. I kind of feel like Danganronpa 2 would be best situated so that in a way that you could go back in time and try and save all the other students. And that was like the entire focus of the events. But you'd have to be very careful not to simply have Danganronpa 2 be a retelling or an alternate universe telling of the same events of the first game. Like, I don't want to wake up with my memory missing as Makoto and be trapped in Hope's Peak again. That would be incredibly dull. And since they already have made the reloaded version of this, they've sold the first game twice already. Let's go ahead and skip all this. And it seems like it's always Monokuma at the end. And it seems like it's always somewhat difficult to have everything you need. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Still really annoying sound effect. 20 microchips. Nope, that's not gonna happen. 30 Book of Secret Poems. You see, the really crazy thing here is I think you can get Warlock Kuma twice in one run, which would really ask for a lot of resources. 50 paints. So we're gonna need watercolor paints and what else? Microchips. Bags of screws. Watercolor paints and bags of screws. So bags of screws. Bags of screws. Bags of screws. Watercolor paints. Watercolor paints. Switch that. Do that. And do that. And go. And see, I think at that point we've pretty much leveled up every character to the max search. So it would just be all cleaning next turn anyways. Alright, now moving Sakura. Did we have even a single prompt in the library? We'll just go to the library again. I don't think we did. And I believe, I gotta scroll back up, that maybe we should tidy up a little is the good response here.
Of course.
Good idea. Let's start by dusting the shelves. I'll take care of all the top shelves. Don't worry, a man's value isn't in his heights. I think we both had a pretty good time. Today was quite fun. If you feel the same way, there's no reason we can't do this again.
So then.
Well, we'd better head back. There are several anime-inspired video games where the apocalypse has happened and characters are like the last living people or they're clones of the last living people. There's a whole lot of stories like that. There's one where you're called Conception, where you're supposed to date a bunch of anime girls and sleep with them to conceive the next generation of people in Japan. Otherwise, the whole country of Japan will run out of children. I think there was probably some disease also. Explanation around that. So, yep. If anything, I would say a lot of the more heavier Japanese games do tend to have at least some kind of significant twist to them. I guess we'll go to the rec room now, whereas you just don't have something like a Call of Duty, which there's reason for that as far as a World War II military shooter from Japanese developers, but in general you don't have something that's just dull and formulaic. The most dull and formulaic thing you'll get is just a slice of life visual novel game, or you'll get something like Resident Evil, which is iconic as establishing a genre, whereas so many other zombie shooter games or zombie survival horror games have been inspired as clones to Resident Evil games. And sure, you could make the argument that Resident Evil took the concept of Alone in the Dark and other survival horror games, but they managed to do something long-lasting with it. Or you have like Silent Hill, but there's a pretty big twist in Silent Hill. I wouldn't say that's a generic game by any means as far as a horror game. Shoot 'em ups do exist in Japanese games quite a bit, but also those very rarely get ported over to the West, so you don't hear about them that much. Visual novels oddly get ported over to the West a lot more. So for the rec room, the prompts are kind of boring here, which is great, versus I'm not sure about any of these games, versus Hope's Peak is really amazing. Or would you like to play Othello, which is great, versus there's no shogi here, versus you want to play some pool, or why don't we just sit down and talk, which is good, versus I bet you like action comics, versus you want to look at these fashion magazines. So the rec room isn't particularly the best place for Sakura. Wow. And for a game where I'm literally just pressing the B button, the fact that my thumb is getting stiff says something. Well, I'm not pressing the B button, I'm pressing the A button. But that's literally all I've been doing while playing this game. And pretty much this is the only game I've been playing for at least 3 or 4 weeks. And still, there's so much redundant button presses that I'm wearing my hand out. And of course I could put this in auto mode, and maybe we'll do that in the last run, but there's still plenty of text to potentially see for the first time, even in the last run, at least in the dating sections, not really anywhere else. So kind of boring in here, huh? I would never think this was the right answer. You're very honest, aren't you? Not that that's a bad thing. Undercourted words put me at ease more than anything else. Oh, undecorated words. Boy, did I misread that. I think your direct honesty is a wonderful merit to have. So why don't we spend some time thinking about ways to pass the time together? Looks to me like she has a really good time. I suppose if you were gonna do the gag of Chihiro actually being a man, that the way to do that gag is to reveal Chihiro was actually a male, a boy, I guess. The high school students, you might still call them boys, and then very quickly have Sakura say, I can't believe Chihiro wasn't a girl like me, and then have Yashahiro or Makoto go, what, you're a girl? And really contrast that and have that happen in less than 2 or 3 sentences. That way it has comedic timing to it. They did do a joke somewhat like that, but they spread it out fairly far away from the reveal of Chihiro. And it's not like there was ever a point where Monokuma said there's this many girls and this many boys in the group to lead to like any kind of confusion where Sakura had to be, really needed to be confused as a boy. Perhaps. I've already seen this prompt, so we'll skip through this. And that is still very much just a on the nose joke, which, I don't know, with modern sentimentalities, misgendering someone may become just incredibly offensive to the point where it can't even be a joke. Guess we'll do the rec room one more time. Get another trigger happy heart. And we'll skip forward, and I think it's affirmative, so I'm not going to check again. And then consent. And then we'll just try to fast forward through all of this. Like, we really should check the levels of the characters in the next day.
Isn't that wonderful? See ya.
See. Yeah, there's literally nobody left as far as searching. So everybody is almost at 6 for cleaning, with the exception of 2 people. And nope, 3 people are still at 5. So it would potentially make sense in the next playthrough to, instead of trying to construct more of these cleaning maestros, to instead simply try and construct nothing and simply having everybody clean for the entirety of the run. Alright, we are still really short on paint. We need 50 paint. We need more microchips. Alright. How many days do we have left? 6. Guess that's the case. So spend some more time with Sakura. Move on to the music room. So the prompts for the music room are: want to try singing together with everyone versus I prefer modern music versus the piano looks pretty expensive, or I'm a big fan of music versus can you play any instruments versus I've always wanted to see some live music, or I'd love to hear Sayaka sing sometime, and I don't know why that would be the good right answer for that group, particularly considering you're talking about Sakura, talking to Sakura. Like Sakura and Sayaka literally, I don't think even have a conversation in the game. And that might be true for most of the characters in Sayaka. The other options are I want to do some karaoke versus do you want to know how to dance? Or do you know how to dance? Not a question about whether she wants to learn. Let's see. I'm a big fan of music.
Of course.
Me too. I love listening to the sounds of nature. The whisper of the wind, the murmuring of the river, the sighs of the treetops, the call of the insects of the 4 seasons, the faint footsteps of all animals. Those sounds have helped calm my untamed heart so many times during my training. Sounds like she had a really good time. Thank you for everything today, Makoto. Time we spent together really means a lot to me. If you don't mind, could we do it again sometime? I'd like to talk with you more. I think maybe. Anyways, let's skip that prompts because we've already had that conversation. It would be really crazy if there actually was some randomization to the nighttime prompts. Right. Okay, we now need 10 more microchips, which means we just need to focus on bags of screws, and we can move everybody else who's looking for something else away. What were you looking for? Otherwise, as far as this, Venus flytraps. So we need to get a few more people looking for Venus flytraps, which I guess should probably be these. Let's do that. Have to hold down even the fast forward button quite a long time there. Seems like we didn't get any Venus flytraps there. Well, I guess the idea we should check out here is if we really do want to just run all of the rest of the days just cleaning. Just a massive amount of cleaning on top of cleaning. Seems like experience carries over anyways. I'm gonna go with I'm a big fan of music. Oh, me too. Yeah, that was the same prompt. Like, I would need pretty much 45 cleaning maestros to get everyone to the max, if they're not gonna level up on their own. I need more microchips. And we can make another one of these. And then yeah, we would need more Venus flytraps. Okay. Let's just psych everyone up. Go ahead and construct that so we know we're safe. Let's go ahead and make a couple of these too. Yeah, if I'm gonna pull this off anyway. Let's see, let's construct another one of those. One of those. Alright, so full cleaning. Everybody's gonna be in charge of cleaning. Just have every single person in the whole group clean while hyper energetic with the cleaning at the maximum. And we'll see how that works. Whether that can level up anybody or whether that's just a huge waste of time. I mean, they get little plus sound effects, so you would think that that would have given them experience. We only have a couple more days. Alright, next we go to the garden. The prompts for the gardener: I'd rather have rabbits than chickens, versus I'd love to just lay down and go to sleep, versus the happy blue sky kind of cheers me up, or I wish these were cherry blossoms here, versus want to do some gardening, versus let's make some flower garlands, or want to walk around a bit, which is only good, versus the flowers kind of creepy, versus do you like flowers or no. So yeah. I'd rather have rabbits than chickens. You're talking about the chicken coop? It's true, rabbits are quite lovely. They say rabbits can die of loneliness, and they never seem to get frightened when I hold them. I definitely respect that kind of fortitude. Looks to me like she had a really good time. Thank you for everything. Skip all this. Honestly, I kind of wish there was a way to checkbox lines of dialogue and just say, hey, I don't care to see this dialogue ever again.
Isn't that wonderful?
So it gives you a rad bowl instead of a cleaning. Of course, we wouldn't have gotten any new items with this, so then the question really will just come down to is there any logic to something like this and to what I'm doing, or is this just a stupid way to waste time? The plus 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 sound effects make it feel like they would be gaining experience. We'll do one more trip to the garden, and I think we may very well find that we need to take Sakura to on another trip somewhere. Wish there were cherry blossoms here. Cherry blossoms? Did you get that idea from my name? And see, in this case, localization would be very helpful because Sakura means cherry blossoms. And I don't really know what the name of the tree is that cherry trees, or how you would pronounce that in Japanese. Probably Saku, if I was to guess, and the Ra is the blossom part there, or it could be Kura is the name of the tree and Sa is the blossom part of that, or some kind of combination between something like that. But yeah, the phrase Sakura often is conflated and used to mean cherry blossom trees as much as it means the blossoms themselves, which that probably highlights the subtlety of the Japanese language. They may very well refer to the trees and the blossoms as Sakura, and you just, through context clues, figure out what they're talking about. Of course, that doesn't make any sense to a Westerner who doesn't know that Sakura means cherry blossom in Japanese. We also don't get to hang out in a dojo. That's just not one of the hangout locations, where obviously it would have made more sense, since they wanted you to get 10 hearts of affection. Would have made a lot more sense to have 10 places you could have hung out with people and gotten only one prompt of text. In that case, Sakura would have been in the dojo seeing cherry blossom trees. I don't think there are any here, but the dojo does have a cherry tree. Had 2 from what I could tell.
So then.
Why don't we go take a look, just you and me? Looks to me like she had a really good time.
Perhaps. So then.
Alright. Let's see. Everybody's energetic. Everybody's going to be fairly energetic. There's nothing to clean. If anything, I guess I probably am wrong about having the cleanliness to the maximum and then having them clean. I probably should start like this instead. Alright. We may very well at this point have 4 characters ready to go, and we have only like 6 dates as far as trip tickets. Okay. So yeah, we've got the 4 we can. Which means we can just pretty much in the day. So what if we were to go into auto mode? Like, we can experiment here and see what the auto mode does.
Isn't that wonderful?
It is fairly slow, but it means I don't have to hit the A button with my thumbs. I'm not really gonna try and craft anything, although it would make sense to probably send that many people to get some Venus flytraps. In auto mode, you don't speed up. Wow. 4 people. Did not give me any Venus flytraps. And still, I'm holding the B button a lot. So I never got that last Venus flytrap. That was my last option. It would be pointless to craft anything else. So we'll go and skip this. And we get the 200 tokens, which brings us up to 600, which you would think that that would mean we would have had 999 as an achievement. Oh shoot. No. We have only 4 more days which we could have hung out with people. There is maybe a possibility that if I had done it just perfectly, I would have gotten 1 more character up to the max, but I think the odds are like really, really low that that would have happened. You would have had to just gotten perfect options for 10 times in a row. But yeah.
I don't.
Being able to hang out with somebody 4 times at the end, I kind of had forgotten about that. But even in this case, you can see there's no easy way just to get to the end of the story. I'm having to push a lot of buttons to get to a place. Okay, we'll just hold down the B button and you see how slow it is in this. It kind of pauses every time it changes the sequence and you look at someone different. So yeah, if you even if you want to rush through this, like almost certainly in the second game you're going to end up having to build that Usami character, and you can definitely see like Hefumi's influence around a character like that. But then how would Hefumi have influence on the design of Usami if Hefumi was dead? Which I guess that just gives you more evidence to think that the ending you see in this extra game is the ending that the sequel is going to continue from, where everybody survives and nobody is particularly upset with each other. There's still a massive amount of text
Makoto, hey.
at the end here.
I see.
A lot of the writing in visual novels, and particularly this visual novel, feels like it is written in a vacuum and not ingested as a whole, as if the writer themselves never really had a never had a requirement to play the full game or experience it in some quality testing.
I see. You know what I mean. Yo.
If this is the ending that the sequel starts from, then the question is, how does the real Junko play a role in that? Or does the real Junko play a role in that? maybe I should talk with everyone a little more before we go. So we have Toko, Leon, Hefumi, and Sakura. And we'll just, I suppose, start on the left and work our way over. I'm fairly interested in seeing what kind of 8-bit underwear you end up getting from her. Wondered if this was the last time we'll ever see this place. The time we spent here didn't make much sense. This is all the same dialogue.
What's your problem?
Geez, what's everyone so happy about? Oh, why shouldn't we be happy? How can you stand there acting all carefree, like nothing's wrong? You're acting like everything's just fine. But we didn't solve any of the mysteries here. Maybe, but right now I'm focused on what comes next. We all have things we want to do once we get out. Oh yeah, for example, you've got that new novel to publish, right? What novel? You know, the one you showed me. It's totally different from anything you've done before. I think everyone's gonna be really surprised. And again, a lot of these conversations involve the main game dating elements too. There was a movie I watched where something crazy magical happened and people from alternate universes get mixed up and start interacting with copies of themselves and replacing copies of themselves. Not intentionally, they kind of just get lost in a fog, and so a group of 10 friends walks in from one universe, and then a mixed match of 10 people from many universes walks out, and they don't realize that they are actually from different universes until fairly late in the story. I wonder if for this game, maybe that would be the way that it would happen, is you'd have maybe just Makoto, but maybe some other characters show up from the main game story universe and replace the Makoto of this universe. Because if you don't have someone that remembers the events of the main game, then the events of the main game become unimportant, and that's just crazy. You kind of can't make this extra game canon that much without pissing off people who didn't play the 1.2 reloaded version. I think everybody's gonna be really surprised, and it's really good. I'm sure everyone's gonna love it. ... Why are you getting so excited? I have no intention of publishing. Huh? Why not? You were so excited about it. You said you wanted to keep working on it. So what happened? Did you hit another slump? Don't steal my lines. And I don't know why you're acting so surprised. It's my story and my decision. There's no reason for you to be surprised or to care about it at all. But... I guess the question is, are you embarrassed by it because it's an autobiography? That's such a waste. We're friends. We get these prompts, but they don't mean anything. Are you embarrassed by it? I mean, it's based on your personal experiences, right? No, not at all. It's not like I'd be publishing my own diary. Oh yeah, I guess so. We're friends? Let's go with that's such a waste. It's a really amazing story.
Anyway,
Is that supposed to make me feel better? It sounds like you're just making fun of me. Sorry, what I meant to say was... Wow, so I got all 3 wrong. At least we know, even if you get 2 out of 3 wrong, it still doesn't really matter. We're friends. We're friends. It's only natural to care about them, to get excited for them. Maybe I did say something like that, didn't I? When you're in a slump, it's supposed to be your friends that cheer you up. That's right. If you're having trouble writing new stories, I'll cheer you up. Then help me right now. This would be funny if she actually tries to sleep with him at this point. Okay, what do you want me to do? ... For now, I'm not going to publish the novel. But why not? Come on. Let me finish, okay? Sorry. I'm not going to stop writing or anything. But I'm not sure if I can write like I used to. Because of you, I'm losing the power of my power of delusion. I can feel it going dark. What? Because of me? Because of how much attention you've given me. I don't have time for my delusions. You have to take responsibility for what you did. But what am I supposed to do? Do you want me to, like, come up with more delusions for you? Are you stupid? Why would I want any of your delusions? Okay, so what can I do? Well, Dot dot dot. Dot 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 dot. She's blushing. You can stay with me and together we, or I, dot dot dot. I'm asking you to be with me. What? Do we really need to spell it out for you to understand? Or do you want me to say it, demon? No, that's not it. I can't have my delusions anymore because you genuinely wanted to spend time with me, even though I kept doing things wrong, saying the wrong things. You never ran away. Dot dot dot. But I'm sure you'll say no. If we stay together eventually, I'll stay with you. I promise. Huh? See, it's really crazy to actually be able to lock in a like romantic path with Toko, and they're trying to water it down, but she's basically saying she wants to sleep with him and date him, huh? We're friends, right? So if that's what you need, I'm there for you. No, actually, what I mean is not just a friend, but I'm a little bit embarrassed to actually say it out loud. It's okay then, you don't have to say it. Some things don't need to be said, but sometimes it's enough just to have the thought in your heart, right? Yeah, Japanese people. Very, very uncomfortable with admitting any romantic interest or emotions. Although Western people and people around the world are also fairly uncomfortable with that. But still, you made a promise, right? And I'm not gonna forget. Don't worry, I'll keep my promise and listen. Maybe you'll go back to writing romance novels, but someday I want to read that story. Dot dot dot. You really are a fool. Did you already forget what an I novel is, huh? I novels are based on the author's experience, right? Does that mean you're going to start writing about a romance between us? What? Makoto? Your disgusting delusions are completely prohibited. My stories are tales of true love. Got it. But is this acceptable? As I said that, I put out my hand. She stared at it for a long time. I suppose. This is probably how chapter 1 would end. Finally, she took my hand. I looked her in her eyes and saw something I'd never seen there before, the light of happiness. So they're holding hands. I thought he was going to shake her hand. Someday I think we'll become closer than mere friends. We'll truly understand each other. Someday we'll both laugh together from the bottom of our hearts. So we received Toko's undergarments, which seem to be not as weird as I thought they would be. Alright, we'll look at the description of the undergarments at the end. Let's now talk to Leon. Yeah, and I never got to a point where the cursor was actually on the screen where when you're trying it with mouse and keyboard. So that would have been the one point in this like 2-hour episode where if I was using a mouse, it might have been useful to use a mouse. But that definitely shows that mouse and keyboard is not the way to play this game for real. So you basically skip all the blue at the beginning. Oh yes, finally we're getting our butts out of here. None of this made any damn sense, but it's over. Yeah, you're right.
You know what I mean.
But man, what the hell was Monokuma's deal? I guess I originally came here to, go to school, but I didn't want to go here anymore anyway, so whatever. Really?
Huh?
What, you don't believe me? No, it's not that.
Seems like.
But graduating from here is like being on the winning team, right? Why would you want to throw that away?
Hey, you bastard!
Oh well, I already decided. I'm gonna go back to playing baseball.
You know.
Does that make me lame? No, not at all. I think it's a great idea. Hey, thanks. I guess there is an argument about not throwing away natural talent, even if it's not your favorite thing, and chasing a wild dream instead. There really is nothing that stops him from probably playing baseball and becoming a musician, or at least being in a band and playing music for fun. Although maybe there is some kind of morals clause in Japanese baseball rules that would stop him from being a punk rocker. I just gotta beg my old team for forgiveness. Leon looks really happy, ... but there's something I'm worried about. Oh, by the way, can I say just one thing? Sure, what's up? What about singing? I guess that's the response here. I'm assuming not, but are you gonna keep singing? Huh? Yeah, of course. What? Did you think all I was gonna do from now on was play baseball? Oh well, it's not like I doubt your dedication. I just thought it'd be really hard to focus on baseball and singing at the same time.
Stupid.
Don't you understand? That's exactly why I have to do both, huh?
You know what I mean.
An athlete can only play for so long, you know? Even as the ultimate baseball star. I know I won't be able to play for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And when you're a star player, you have the chance to go on talk shows and stuff, right? Pitch for a while, then go to become the ex-baseball star who's totally famous singer now. It's a totally new approach, huh? Yeah, it's new, that's for sure. Right. Not just a baseball player, and not just a singer. It's an all-new approach just for me. But you know, the only reason I was able to figure out this new approach is because you were there to listen to me all those times. That's what I think anyway. But I didn't do anything.
Hey, listen.
Come on, don't say that. You're getting a huge thanks from a future superstar. Just accept it. Leon was grinning from ear to ear. He was beaming. Okay, then I accept. Nice. Seriously, Makoto, thank you. I'm sure that from now on, no matter what challenges Leon might face, he'll conquer them all. What's funny is this might be the only time where we have a character that isn't actively saying he wants Makoto to hang around and be his friend or romance interest. His smiling face standing there with me talking about the future. That's an unforgettable symbol of our hope. And so he's given you what looks like padded underwear that you probably would wear, something similar to that as a baseball player. Yes, I do want to talk to more people. They should, again, just immediately jump into this scene, and if you want to exit, you just would have to press the B button to exit and skip. Right, Hefumi. Hopefully he's not too annoying. Suppose his underwear could be particularly ridiculous too. Could be pink or have anime characters on it.
Ah, well.
Finally, the day has arrived. We've been through so much, but now it's goodbye to Stink High. You look really happy, Hefumi. I very much am. How much time have we lost being locked away in here? How many games have I missed? How many comics? How much anime has come and gone while I was in here? Just thinking about it. It makes me lose my appetite. It makes me feel like I'm gonna explode. Really? But there's still so many unsolved mysteries, like what's the deal with Monokuma? It's true, there's a lot we don't know. But it's not like we figured anything out while we were here either. And in the meantime, I haven't been able to make use of my talent at all. That's true. Now that you're free, you can go back to work. Then let's get out of here together. Absolutely, we've reached our goal. And at the same time, we've created a new starting line. Right, let's do this. Oh, what's wrong? What happened? For your first question, yes, something is wrong. And what happened is that nothing happened. Mr. Naegi, I do hope you remember our promise. Promise? So you don't remember? Remember what we agreed when we got out of here? Do you really not remember? What? No, I do. Please stop staring at me. I'll join you as your editor. I'll join you as your biggest fan. I'll join you as your editor and help you develop all your future achievements. Huh? I guess that wasn't it.
Suppose.
Naturally, some fanfic creators need an editor to help them develop, but I am the ultimate fanfic creator. I need no editor. From the first kernel of an idea to the last drop of ink, from the printer, I do it all. So what was the promise? I'll join you as your friend and help you as your friend.
You got it.
That's right. Okay. You get to observe me as my closest friend, following my every footstep. Then you get to narrate my story to the entire fanfic world. It'll be your duty to pass my legacy on to the future generations. Which is why, Mr. Naegi, you will serve as my assistant. Digital art is the new thing, so we don't have to worry about ink stains anymore. And with the digital age, I don't find myself drowning in manuscripts anymore either. Nor will we have to worry about little pieces of screen tone flying this way and that. I do pride myself on my visual flair though, so I still have to work as hard as ever. You know, Hefumi, I think I understand your feelings. I'm a total amateur, so I don't know what most of what you just said means, but I'm okay standing by you as your friend. Then don't hesitate. An opportunity like this is most rare indeed. And remember, this isn't just about publicizing my creations, it's about recording the process. As my assistant and my historian, I will hold on to you forever. Hold on to me? I think I might have a problem with that.
Here we go.
OMG, STFU. Isn't STFU shut the F up? I was just speaking metaphorically. Although I think all those yaoi fangirls, again, localization issue. If you're gonna say yaoi, you have to realize that you have to put in parentheses the yaoi is pretty much younger anime men and teenagers in gay scenarios. So it's gay comics or gay in general, but only male on male gay, whereas Yuri is female on female gay. They have a whole separate category for that. But they're just gonna throw that out there without people knowing. So he's basically saying, I think all the fans of gay comics or gay media, fangirls in particular, because the Japanese don't believe that there are any actual gay guys out there that want to see gay media, would totally be into the idea of Hefumi and Makoto being together romantically. So, Mr. Naegi, be my assistant, be my true friend. And that was it. Hefumi said all that with a shy look in his face, but he didn't turn away. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, then let's make it official. With that, we shook hands. I don't know what the future holds, but I know what to expect when it comes to the people here. Hefumi has his own hope, and I have to think about how I can support him in that. For the first time since coming to the school, a vivid image of the future filled my heart. This is really weird that each of these dating paths basically commit Makoto to be the bit part sidekick to one of the other ultimate students. To a certain point, it almost makes sense if the whole school would have had a whole system of the ultimate sidekicks or sidekick students that were simply brought to the school to be assistants to the ultimates and not be ultimate students themselves. That would definitely expand the whole idea of Hope's Peak if there was a whole second class citizen sidekick students in the whole system. There is definitely some interesting tales you could have told about how Hope's Peak really would have worked as a school. There would have been so much ego between every single ultimate student and so much conflict and nobody wanting to work with anybody else. So we do get some kind of superhero-esque thong underwear from Hefumi. It's nice when it brings up the prompt, at the very least, that it doesn't automatically highlight a no, but it also doesn't automatically highlight yes. So you have to press on the D-pad up before you can hit the A button, which once again just has one more button press that's unnecessary in the game. Then just skip all the blue text again. We've reached the end, but I can't say I'm totally satisfied. And see, I suppose Sakura maybe wasn't a spy from day one for the mastermind. Perhaps Sakura was forced to be a spy with the DVDs that were given out at the beginning of chapter 1. So since this takes place before chapter 1 even happens, maybe Sakura has no idea about the mastermind and never worked for him, and so she's left in the dark as much as anyone else. We've reached the end, but I can't say I'm totally satisfied. I know what you mean, but at least we're finally free. If things stayed the way like they were, you'd never be able to continue your training, right?
Of course.
Indeed. I can feel the absence of my strength I lost in here. I need to gain it all back again, which means I must train even harder. Living here must have been really hard for you. They could go with an anime trope of Sakura looking more like a normal high school girl because she's developed some kind of like Super Saiyan Dragon Ball ability to hide her muscles and power down her body during normal activity, and that she only becomes big and muscly when she needs to. And you can do that without doing magic. Certainly you could say she just trained under a new technique that actually reduces the size of muscles to increase their power. And while that isn't probably scientifically accurate, it would make enough sense. Living here must have been really hard for you.
However,
Oh no, not at all. I was uncomfortable at times, but my time here has given me another sort of strength. Another sort of strength? ... Raw physical power, mental fortitude, perseverance. Perseverance? Well, that too, I suppose, but the strength I've gained is larger than even that. Oh, so then mental fortitude?
of course.
That's right. You taught me the importance of withstanding difficulties like this. If I'd never come here, if I'd never met you, I never would have gained that kind of invisible strength. So I imagine Sakura's underwear that we're going to collect is going to be a traditional Japanese cloth underwear, which is just a long white cloth that is wrapped around in a certain way to flap in the front, and it's just like maybe tied, maybe not tied at all. But a lot of people still, you see in anime, a lot of people still wearing traditional Japanese undergarments, although they kind of only wore them, if I'm understanding it right, and if I've caught the information right, I think they kind of only wore the traditional Japanese underwear when they would have been seen and exposed and cared to not just be naked amongst other people. I think there's a lot of scenarios before Western clothes were introduced in Japan where people were just either straight up fully naked, or they were just wearing like clothes without underwear at all. It was definitely a case that the Japanese were very uncomfortable when the emperor basically told everybody to wear Western clothes and Western underwear. And I could certainly see that, being that grown adults who barely ever wore underwear or never wore underwear suddenly being told to wear cotton underwear from the 1800s or about there, or early 1900s, and that clearly not being particularly comfortable clothing. Western clothing from like the United States from the Pilgrims' days in particular were not very comfortable. Anyways, back to the text. I went off on a tangent there. Aren't you exaggerating a little?
However,
No, not at all. I truly believe it. Before we leave, Mikado, I wanted to talk to you about something. As I told you before, I've sworn to defeat Kenshiro. I forgot the rival's name. They only mentioned it a couple times. Or it feels like it should have been used as a red herring throughout all of the main game. I've sworn to defeat Kenshiro and prove that I'm the strongest human alive. When I fight him, I would like you to be there as our witness. What, me? Normally, we would not need a witness for such a battle. I know that neither he nor I would try to deceive or cheat the other. Then why? I'm a total amateur, right? Having me there would be totally meaningless. No, there would be meaning in it, even if only for me. For you. ... I want you to see me defeat him. Not just because I want to earn the title. I want to put an end to the matter of my attraction to him. And then I can ask you.
So in the end.
No, I can't talk about that yet. Not until I'm finished with him. So she wants to defeat Kenshiro, who's like sick in the bed with an illness and weak. Last I heard, she wants to defeat him because she has a crush on him, so that then she can date Makoto. So another romance path. But can you grant me my wish? Yes, of course. When I answered, Sakura replied with a shy smile.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, Makoto, truly. It was the pleasant smile of a young girl. I could feel the strength of our bond, and that bond is unbreakable. Yep. Pretty much traditional Japanese underwear. Although that looks slightly different from what I was expecting. Okay, so let's look at the presents. So Sakura's underwear. Sakura's favorite loincloth, I guess that's the right word. She wears the complicated garment to remind her daily of the process of putting on her various martial arts uniforms. The loincloth represents the willingness to accept change at any time. Togo's favorite panties, actually they're probably Genocide Jack's favorite. They have reinforced elastics and loops to hold her deadly scissors. So the underwear is holding up the scissors. I didn't realize that. I already saw Ioi's, we already saw Kyoko's, I already saw Siaka's. Hefumi's favorite briefs, this one-of-a-kind, not-for-sale anywhere item was designed to mimic the garments of the Galactic King Robo Justice. Due to Hefumi's exceptional girth, the briefs have been stretched into a rather form-fitting thong. So they were briefs originally and they've just been stretched out. Leon's favorite supportive sports underoos. He claims he hates baseball, but deep down he still holds a special place in his heart. After all, that's what makes him ultimate. I'm not getting really a lot of story there. So we know there's one more piece of underwear, which seems weird because that feels like that would be Chihiro. And then there's 3 pieces here. So I guess maybe this is Junko, Chihiro, and one other character and one more male listed character in the same order as this. So yeah, Celeste, Junko, Chihiro, and then I guess Yashihiro's last bit of underwear. Right, well. 2 hours and 23 minutes in, save. So overwrite that and we'll just keep on overwriting. There's nothing to do here. And we didn't get any achievement or anything in that run. All we did is unlock more of the main character's dating elements. And so in the next run we'll get another 200 Monokuma tokens, which will get us to 801 Monokuma tokens, which means that I can't spend any at all until I also go through some chapters ending and I think I can pretty much figure out that chapter 5 is probably where I need to go. And I may have to jump into a sub-chapter of chapter 5 to get the one bit of art that's unlocked. That's still locked. Let's see. Events, we've got them all unlocked. Except for this one. So between Byakuya drinking the poison and climbing up, there's an event where, and clearly this would be the event where we have Kyoko split the path and she becomes the guilty blackened instead of Makoto taking the blame. And then right here between Mystery Formula 1 and Cash Money, that's got to be an event where we peep in on the girls in the shower, and that's chapter 4. So it's going to be fairly difficult to pull that off. Yeah, chapter 4, I guess, specifically is the middle point with the cheesecake imagery, because that's also the point where we see, oh, are we in our underwear? I assume that's chapter 4. That might be chapter 3. I may very well just be better off using a walkthrough to unlock those events. And this punishment obviously is the punishment of Kyoko instead of Makoto, which also is that result. And see, here we have Goodbye Despair High All, which this definitely needs to be unlocked. We need to see if this is from the side game or if this is a possibly a different branch. Could it be that in this sequence Kyoko is not actually in the group and instead everybody except for Kyoko gets to escape? That wouldn't make sense though, because there's like Leon in this picture, so that wouldn't really make sense. And I think Kyoko is actually in this group. It's just she's being covered up by another character. Well, maybe not. I'd really like to unlock that, but if I spend even a single cent of Monokuma tokens, I won't have enough. And that probably is more of a coincidence than it seems. Alright, well, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and get me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.